Welcome to the Our Team Podcast, powered by eXp Realty. Are you an agent looking to level up? Are you someone looking to buy or sell real estate? Fantastic. This is the show for you.
Welcome to the Our Team Podcast. I am Brian Auer, and I'm back for another episode here. I hope you guys are enjoying these. I got to say, too, my producer, I really like the way he does the opening of this podcast. You really do a good job with that.
I am very good at things.
Yes, he's good at things. That's really cool. If you're watching this on YouTube, I was the one that put the little montage of all the crazy stuff. What do you call that? The bumper?
I'd call it a bumper. I did the voiceover.
Yeah, of course you did. Everyone knows that. They can tell. But I was the one that did all the... Is it played out? Should we change that out since we're on season 2 now?
I was going to say, I think we probably need an update on that.
At some point, we're going to have to change the bumper music and the bumper video. But anyway...
Yes, it shows the market going up.
We are not... there's some graphs on there showing the market. The market is going up. Hey, let's talk about that for a second. We're not going to do a podcast on this, or this is not what the podcast is about. But guys, I'm telling you, the market, here we're coming towards the end of 2023, and rates are scheduled to, yes, I said scheduled, rates are scheduled to go down.
Of course they are.
They're going to go down.
Year.
Yeah, it's an election year, that's true. They're going to go down. People are going to say, they're low enough now for me to sell. And we're going to have a lot more inventory. We're going to have a lot more people wanting to buy. And we still have a bunch of people that are out there right now waiting to buy. So we're going to have more inventory, and we're still going to have a shortage of inventory. So it's going to be a little bit of a bloodbath again. So I know that
buy now.
Listen to that voice. Buy now. Buy now. It is a good time to buy now. But listen, it's going to get crazy. And I know there's a lot of agents out there. If you're listening to this and you feel like you're just kind of holding on by a thread, feeling like maybe you should give up and go back to Walmart or whatever. That was kind of mean to say that, but just go back to your other job because real estate's not working out for you. Just do the best you can to hang in there because it's not going to be that much longer for things to really turn around. That's my opinion, but I've been doing this for a while, and I hang out with a lot of really smart people that feel the same way, and we talk about it all the time. So if you can hang in there, then please do because it's going to be amazing. And
marry the house, date the rate, buy now.
Yeah. I haven't heard that one in a while, but that's true, right? Buy now. Rates are a little high. They're going to go down. Your value is going to go up, and you can refi. All right, so here's what we want to talk about today. We have been doing a lot of prospecting with the leads that have been coming in. We've been shifting our focus more to texting. And, a lot of people that we're texting have opted in with their phone number. So it's not like we're bombarding them with, illegal texts and things like that. So we do a lot of marketing, a lot of online marketing. There's a lot of different channels where we have prospective buyers coming into our team, into our funnel, we'll call it. And we have email campaigns. We have, we're prompted to make phone calls. We're doing all kinds of different touches to make sure that the buyers and sellers that we are nurturing don't slip through the cracks. So some of it is automation, some of it is live and more organic. But what we've been doing is we're getting a lot more successful with getting people to converse with us because really this is a business that's all about appointments. You're not going to crush it out there unless you're making as many appointments as you possibly can. But before appointments, guess what comes? Conversations. It's all about conversations. And so you have to be able to be in a place where you're having good communication, good conversation with as many potential buyers and sellers as possible. So what can you do to increase the amount of conversations? Well, email works. Sometimes phone calls work. Leaving voicemails can work. But overwhelmingly, we're getting the most response, the most bang for the buck with just coming outside of our CRM, which has its own smart number and its own little ecosystem, but coming outside of that and introducing yourself with your cell phone number and just saying, hey, this is Brian. I've been chatting with you through my work number or through my email, my work email. Thought you might want to have my personal cell as well, and then you just start communicating that way. That has been very, very key for starting up a conversation. It's almost like they know that you have some type of automation, even though your automation is written to be really organic. I feel like the prospect or the buyer, the seller, they know that it's not really you. It's some type of robot, right?
They don't know it's me. I use ChatGPT.
It's ChatGPT talking to them directly. And you know, a lot of that stuff we do have or incorporating into our automation. But I honestly feel like even though we are just at the very beginning of artificial intelligence and how it works into our industry, I feel like buyers and sellers have already picked up on it, and I feel like they're already disgusted by it. It just has happened in the last year, but they're already picking up on that because it just feels like, and I could be totally wrong, but it feels like I get so much more response from prospective buyers and sellers when it's just really me. Like they can pick up on the fact that it was really my thumbs that typed that out in a text. So that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about a couple of rules that you should consider when you are using text for prospecting. Okay, and again, this is for kind of a cold text where you're texting somebody maybe for the first time because their number's not on a do not call list, or it's somebody that opted in and actually gave you their phone number. These rules I think apply, and I think we should get right in and just tear into it. What do you think, Mr. Producer?
I think it's good not to lie to people. If we're talking about local stories of things in the headlines, ask ESPN how AI is working out.
I heard they're actually using AI to write articles,
as well as create their own personalities.
It's crazy. By the way, I don't know if you know this or not, but I really don't have a producer. It's AI.
Of course I am.
Yeah. Open the pod door, Hal. Right. Okay, let's jump into it. Number one, and okay, I've got to say this too. As I compiled this list, this is a combination between Tom Ferry stuff that he has compiled regarding texting, Jeb Blunt from Fanatical Prospecting, which I mentioned in the last 4 or 5 podcasts that we're really consuming that content right now, and some of these things are actually from Exactly What to Say, the real estate version of Exactly What to Say. So this is just kind of a compiled smorgasbord of things I think you should consider if you're going to be texting for prospecting. So let's jump right into number one, and that is identify yourself at the beginning. Okay, they don't have you in their phone, so it's okay to not spook them out and wonder who the heck is this, right? So at the very, very beginning, the very first text, I think you should remember to identify yourself.
But we've also said make a phone call using your personal number and at least leave a little voicemail, because then the phone will say, this might be so-and-so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you have an iPhone, the way it organizes contacts, that's true. But I think that's going a little deep. Keeping it really simple, just making sure that first text, hey, Bill, this is Brian from EXP. The reason I'm reaching out is da-da-da-da-da-da. That, it's, because, again, it's a cold call, or even if they've opted in, it's maybe a warmer than cold call. So if you're going to use texting, it's going to be a lot more effective, but remove all the mystery from the very beginning. Now, the second one is something that I completely would have disagreed with if I didn't respect these guys so much that are teaching these things, and that is to use complete sentences and good grammar. I always thought it was a lot better and more organic-y feeling to keep texts very short, very abbreviated, very, which they should be short. Absolutely, they should be short. But I would always just use lowercase straight across the board and just keep it, knowing that, hey, this is a text, and in this format, this is how you talk. But according to the real pros who really, really, really crush it in doing text prospecting, it's very important to make sure that you're using complete sentences and good grammar, because that message matters. So that's the second thing. The third one kind of touched on a little bit, and that is be brief. Be direct, be brief. It's not professional to ramble, right? You don't want to be that person. You can come across that way in a text too. So make sure that whatever your message is, it's to the point, it's professional, and it's not rambling on and on and on with a bunch of spaces and stuff like that. The fourth thing I gathered was not to use abbreviations. I am so guilty with this one. I use LOL a lot. I use OMG a lot. I don't know what the deal is. Maybe I must have missed the boat on I think that's cool, but that's not what you want to do. I heard somebody say that when you're in those early stages of communicating something with somebody, and something, maybe you've gone back and forth a few times with them, and something really makes you laugh, then just say, "That's really funny," instead of saying LOL, because it's just more professional. I don't know. That might be really splitting hairs, but when you're using abbreviations like LOL and OMG and WTF, right? It doesn't come across professional at all, and so it's more like slang.
Well, you just have to be careful, because your LOL or your WTF could be completely different than somebody else's.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be. WTF to me means why the face. The fifth one, don't send a
Bitly.
Yeah, it's sort of. I'm trying to think about how to best word that, but if you're going to send a link in a text, make sure it's a very obvious, very benefit-rich link that's really obvious. Say you're having a conversation about your website, and you really want to make sure that they go to check it out. Make sure your website is, and I do this a lot. I want you to check out the way we're going to market your home. I want you to feel comfortable with what we do compared to other agents, or check out my website link. And when you send that link, it should be very obvious that it's coming from you, like www.theourteam.com/marketing, or something like that. Not some type of link where it's obvious that you're going to use that to track their behavior, right? So I would say avoid sending links through text until you've established a good relationship, or a good, little bit of a pathway back and forth
You want
of communication.
rapport before you really send a link.
That's right. Build rapport before you start sending links. But when you do send links, make sure they're very direct and they're very obvious, right? So that would be the fifth one. The sixth thing is proofread the snot out of it. I can't even tell you how many times I'm texting something and my phone will go in there and think I said something else, and it will reword something to just make me sound like an absolute lunatic, which oftentimes I am a little bit of a lunatic, but I don't want my phone to be doing that, and sometimes it does, and I can go in there and force it to say the way but you have to proofread things, and especially if you're talk texting, which, let's be fair, if you're by yourself, that's kind of 99% of the time what you're doing. You're hitting the microphone button and then you're doing your thing. If you're going to do that, I implore you to make sure that you are really proofreading it before you hit send. The other thing I learned, I don't know if this really applies to texting, but if you do a fairly long text, because you've been invited to do that, remember, at first you want to keep these brief. But if somebody is engaging with you and they're asking you a lot of information and you've got to come back with a lot of information, a good way to proofread your grammar is to go through it backwards. Instead of reading it forward, read it backwards, so you're just reading each word and not really, you're not going to pick up on the content reading it backwards, but you'll see each individual word. I actually learned that years and years ago, because I'll read through something forward and I'll miss all my bad spelling and things like that. But if you go backwards, you only see the words. So it could help. I mean, we have autocorrect too on.
But there is also the other. Put it in a note, proofread it.
Yep.
Copy and paste it back in.
Yep.
Especially if it's long.
Oh yeah, exactly. And again, I wouldn't do a long text. I wouldn't. I would only, if you're only going to do that if you're invited or you feel like it's time for me to do a big old long ass text right now, because they've asked me all these questions and this is their language. They want the text. So, and you're going to find that's going to happen. It's going to happen because people are, in the demographics that are buying right now, for the most part, they're text savvy and they're text happy. And they're so embrace it, because it's definitely real. The seventh thing is just to know your numbers and track. If you're going to start doing this and doing, really doing more texting than emails and calls and things like that for a certain group of your prospects, then do yourself a favor and track it. Right? Take note of how successful you're being using these as strategies compared to the other methods of contacting. I think you'll find that you'll be a lot more productive by texting those same groups rather than just emailing. And because it's so effective, I would encourage you to run campaigns where it makes it mandatory for them to opt in with a phone number. You will get fewer prospects that way, but you'll be able to go a lot farther with those prospects. You can A/B test that, but really you want to do everything you can to get a cell phone number so that you can start to engage with them in texting. So, well, that's pretty much all I wanted to touch on. That, I think that was 7. Was that 7 things?
That was 7 things.
7 things.
The final piece just is to remember and touch on is, yes, the text is important, but buyers that want to buy or sellers that want to sell are going to do the steps each and every time. They're not going to slow you down. If they want the information, they're going to give you a phone number.
Yep.
They're going to give you an email address.
That's right.
And they're going to say yes to each of these steps.
Exactly. Yeah, as you get further and further down the funnel in your prospecting, the message is a lot different at the top of the funnel, obviously, right? It's a different audience. They're a different buyer at that point. As they come further down the funnel and they're really ready to start making a really serious decision towards moving, then you almost can't give them too much information. Don't be afraid of writing a freaking novel by the time they're ready, because they're going to consume all of it. They're engaging. But if you're starting off doing some prospecting and you're just shooting them a text, it's got to be short. It's got to be brief. You've got to identify yourself at the beginning. You've got to make sure that your message looks professional. You're using complete sentences, that you're being direct and brief, not overdoing it, that you're not using abbreviations, that you're not sending weird, obscure links and things like that. You want to make sure that you proofread everything and that you're tracking everything. I think I just went through all 7 right there.
Pretty much. The only final piece I would say is use the acronym KISS.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Exactly.
Love it. Guys, thanks so much for joining us. Thanks for tuning in. If you made it this far, then maybe you'll take the time to go down and comment, like, subscribe, do all of that. Do all the things that you know what to do. We'll catch you on the next one.
See you then.